What's good with you, YouTube? The TheCaliEffect, king of games here. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what we normally do. We're going to be talking about that Yu-Gi-Oh news. Now, I know a lot of sites have brought Yu-Gi-Oh news to you guys, and that's actually a big reason why I just don't make those Yu-Gi-Oh news videos. They're clickbaity, they're cool, and more often than not, you get one from one site, you kind of don't need one from anyone else, but due to popular demand, we're going to go ahead and make that. And if you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh news from the TheCaliEffect, get more of my insight, then yes, we're going to do more Yu-Gi-Oh news, ladies and gentlemen. So starting off with the April 3rd, 2019 tournament policy update, I went ahead and tried to read off this entire section like in a video, and I got to the 20-minute mark and then realized, maybe this isn't the best thing to do. So for you ladies and gentlemen that want to possibly see an entire thing going forward, go ahead and let me know down below in the comment section. I had a lot of good funny things in there. I think it was pretty awesome how I did it, but still 20-25 minutes on something that can be easily explained is just felt like a little bit too much. I'm not sure how to appeal to this type of player base, but ultimately what's going on is there's going to be some major changes for the Konami policy update for North America and of course Europe. Basically, they're going to be the exact same thing. The only difference between the KDE US and the KDE European is the contact information. So pretty much we can basically say that everything is going to be, the same thing. So basically we're gonna go ahead and divide this up to a couple of things that I read, some things that I picked up on. The very first thing is the head judge change. Now assistant head judges will be able to have the ruling as final. You can no longer appeal an assistant head judge. If you ask me, this is actually a quality of life for head judges or judges all around, because a lot of times a judge would come and give a ruling and then they would appeal, and sometimes the head judge is busy, so an assistant head judge would come and then they'd appeal again, and now they'd have to wait to the head judge. This would take up so much time, so much effort, and more often than not, if a judge can be incorrect but an assistant head judge, I'm not gonna say that all assistant head judges are made from the same cloth as some of the head judges you guys know and love, but if they're an assistant head judge, a lot of times they are right more often than wrong. And if they're a bot, well, I promise you the head judge is probably a bot too. So for the people that don't know what a bot is, basically a glue eater, you're just somebody that's not really competent on what's going on. But I just want to say, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, if a head judge comes down and say, no, this is what it is, his ruling should be final. He's an assistant head judge for a reason. I thought that was a great thing. The next thing I want to talk about is the subsection floor judge changes, and basically the only thing that they're going to be doing is providing a little bit of insight on what questions you should ask and what questions the judges should answer. So let's go ahead and break this down and play a little bit of devil's advocate on this particular situation. As a player playing in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, you are not going to think about what question, like you're not going to word your question in a way to prevent the judge from asking for answering a question or giving more information than they are supposed to. You're not. It's just, it's not something that comes across your mind, or sometimes it's not something that players want to have happen. You want to have as much information as possible. And hey, look, if I'm sitting across the table from you and you do that and the judge gives you the information that he shouldn't have, I'm going to be pissed. But it's like, I mean, you can't really fault the player. It's the judge that has to be able to interpret that. And there are some judges that may fall susceptible to this, unfortunately. But basically what this did is basically just clarify, I keep saying basically, it just clarified what judges should provide and what judges shouldn't provide. There's also going to be, it looks like possibly a media change, maybe possibly from what I've read. I'm crossing my fingers that the TCG US will get the same treatment as TCG Europe, meaning that content creators such as TheCaliEffect, yours truly, will be able to do media inside of the event. If you guys didn't know, doing media inside of an event is prohibited by Konami, but it talks about requiring having a badge. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, nobody reads, like, I mean, come on, it's 2019, ladies and gentlemen. We have not read any user end agreement. How many times have you guys actually like downloaded iTunes or downloaded whatever and read the user end agreement? I mean, we haven't wound up like Eric Cartman yet, but I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta, like, nobody reads. So let's just put it that way. Basically, what's happening now is just, that's basically with the badges and all that other stuff. I need to stop saying basically. Basically, no, I'm just playing. This was just really stupid. Not because people don't need it, but it's because Konami be throwing them shots. I'm just saying they be putting a little bit of extra into it, and I'll be getting a little salty. But basically, they say not knowing the policy will not exempt you from the rules. Like, no, duh. If I commit a massive homicide and didn't know that homicide was illegal inside of this part of the country, then I still would be punished. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's just like an obvious whatever. And then unacceptable behavior, they don't necessarily go in between or like in very good detail. I think they actually gave us like, they told us there was another document that you should read in between this one and that one. And they go in detail more there, but a couple of things I want to talk about is duelists may not wear headphones during a match. I know a lot of players that like to listen to music while they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That obviously can't happen anymore. And the big reason or a big fault to it might just be because of social media or just how technology advanced. But back in the day, I mean, CD players, iPhones or whatever, they didn't, or iPod touches, they didn't have a way to like display music. So it's like, or to make phone calls or talk to people. So this could be a form of cheating. Let's say if you have your headphones in, quote unquote, or a player has their headphones in and they're listening to music where in actuality, they're listening to a player telling them what their hand is. So that's a good ruling, or that's a good rule change. Duelists may not eat or drink at the tables, including in between rounds. This is just, I mean, that's smart. Got to give it to them right there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we spend a lot of money on this Yu-Gi-Oh card game. To have our Thanoses drenched in Sprite is not something that we want to have. Duelists may not wear masks, costumes, face paint, which cover their face during the registration process or during a match. Cosplayers, this is not an attack towards you. I can't think of a single Yu-Gi-Oh character that wears face paint right now. So as long as you are not covering your face during the duel or the registration process, you can be Yugimoto, Seto Kaiba. You could be whoever you want to be. You could even be Tristan. There's not enough Tristan cosplayers. Keep saying cross players, but that'd be kind of cute. Next is the communication. Basically, it just goes into detail what is committing a move and what is not committing a move. But here is the rule change that everybody has been wanting. It's hygiene. Under this new section, requiring all persons attending a tournament to be clean and wear clean clothing. Clean clothing. Oh, hold on. I gotta stop because I have a really bad cough right now. And if I start laughing, I'm gonna start coughing really well or coughing really loud. If you or your clothing is excessively dirty or bad smelling, you can be penalized. So dirty Yu-Gi-Oh players that don't take a shower, players that don't know what shower is. Yes, Konami is cracking down on you guys. I'm pretty sure one of the high judges were at an event with 2,500 people and didn't realize it smelled like ass and dicks in here. It was just like, nah, we good, fam. No more. Wash your ass, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what it means. And I apologize for the, the rude language. But seriously, guys, I'm not trying to smell a whole bunch of men when I walk into a shop that all need baths. So I think that was a good one. Basically, the tournament tiers have built to include, tag duels and 3v3s. And also, they want to emphasize that all levels of tournament play, from your locals all the way to the regional, all rules apply. So, everything should apply, even though, local level events are more relaxed, but they want it to apply. I mean, I guess listing it that it should apply does more. I mean, not listing it doesn't really do anything. So basically, another thing that we want to talk about is that Konami is definitely tightening up on special assistance. Persons attending a tournament will require special assistance of any kind, assigned seating, accommodation for a service animal, will have a clear idea of what can be done and how to accomplish it. I think that that's pretty good. One thing I remember rambling to myself reading this part. I was like, for a service animal, and I was like, what if you better let my my blind seeing dog into the event. And then I started to realize that it would be a lot harder to play Yu-Gi-Oh blind. So yeah, that wasn't a joke. It was just me thinking through the thought process and me being pretty stupid. But next is talking about sleeves. Just basically adding an additionality to sleeves. You cannot use sleeves with artwork or holographs on the front. A lot of people want to ask why you can't do this, and I'll be able to tell you guys. There was actually an event where a kid had a seizure because of a reflective front. And that's the reason why that is in there. They want to obviously prevent kids from having seizures because of reflective fronts. I mean, that's not good for business. That's gonna hurt the bottom line at the end of the day. So for the people that wanted to know, there it is. Tournament materials. Now here's where Konami just gets in there a little bit, a little more. Paper and pen must be used to keep score. A written record of the scores for each duel in each match is required. Here's where they get a little salty. This has always been a requirement, okay, but it was not understood very well. I feel like Konami just called us stupid. Just literally, we've been playing this game. A lot of us have been playing for like 17 years, most of our life. This was not understood very well. Like, come on now, bro. You ain't got to put all that in there. You ain't got to put the little bit of sauce. But they had to. Tokens have a clear explanation, and field center requirements have been added. So the field layout, basically what this did, they're basically saying that your banished zone must be placed next to the graveyard, and live duels will try to, accommodate that by figuring out how we can put our banished zones next to the graveyard. We even might just start using our zones the regular way they are supposed to be played. Actually, I think we're going to go ahead and start enforcing that. We got to figure out how we're going to put that banished zone, though, because that's going to be pretty hard for our process. But we'll definitely try to follow up with those rules. This is the biggest thing that's coming up, though, and this is a game changer somewhat. Private knowledge. This is a new section. It is extremely important and should be read carefully. You cannot divulge any private knowledge information, either truthfully or untruthfully. Reading information that is specified as being private, either truthfully or untruthfully, can result in a disqualification penalty. Disqualification. Kicked out. No longer allowed. Please read the examples of this section carefully. This information you need to understand. Previous tournament policy allowed verifications of cards in hands for cards for the effects such as Mind Crush. This policy has been changed. Card, hand, deck verification is no longer allowed. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Card, hand, and deck verification is no longer allowed, with the exceptions of cards retrieved via search effect or when directed to do so by a card effect. You cannot look through your opponent's hand or deck. You cannot call a judge over to look through your opponent's hand or deck either, unless you have a solid reason to believe your opponent may be cheating. Please make sure to pay particular attention to the examples of this section. So the examples of this section, I'm pretty sure I can recite them to you guys verbatim, is if your opponent activates Mystical Tomato, is destroyed by battle successfully and they wish to activate it, they go through their main deck and they say there are no targets inside of their deck. You cannot verify that there are no targets in their deck anymore. That is no longer what you can do. Now, in GOAT format, obviously, those rules still apply because we are playing at a different time frame. But henceforward, April 3rd, 2019, you cannot verify. And I think I'm kind of torn between this because A, there may be more cheating that will happen because of this. That's just human nature to try to bend the rules to your advantage. But at the same time, if you activate the effects of Mystic Tomato and you genuinely go through your deck and cannot find a dark target, handing your deck over to your opponent so they can learn your entire strategy, everything about it, what cards you have in hand, whatsoever, is like, it's busted. And then there is a counter argument for this. Know the cards in your freaking deck. So then you wouldn't have to go through this problem, but sometimes mistakes happen and you shouldn't be punished for it. So as you guys can see, I'm a little bit conflicted between both of those. At one point, I'm like, you should know your deck. And then at the other point, I'm like, yeah, even if you didn't know your deck, like just having a situation like that where your opponent checks your entire deck and knows everything about your deck is unbelievable. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Mind Crush ruling. They say that, for example, if your opponent activates Mind Crush and declares effect failure, and only thing you have to do is say you do not have effect failure. Why? There's two reasons. First of all, Mind Crush doesn't say that you check your opponent's hand. So that's, yeah. The second thing is, like that leaves a lot opening for cheating. But let me clarify with you guys. First of all, this is low-key how it's always been. Let me give you a great example. Let's say I activate B Buster Drake and wait, how did it go? I apologize. I activated C, Crush Wyvern, and B, Buster Drake. There you go. In the chain order of C, Crush Wyvern being chain link 2, B, Buster Drake being chain link 1. In order for me to do that, I'd have to initially have an ABC monster in my hand. But there is no way you or a judge can verify that I have cards in my hand. And this is the reason why. Let's say, for example, a judge comes over and verifies that I do or do not have that card. Now you, as a player, as the opponent, know what I have in my hand. Granted, you should probably know in this particular situation, but it is unfair advantage. And this is what Konami is trying to tackle. It's a very slippery slope, ladies and gentlemen, but it has to be what it is. Now, they also say in that same section, if the opponent uses polyduality, both players haven't used it, you've noticed that your opponent hasn't used Effect Veiler, you Mind Crush for it, and your opponent says that they don't have Effect Veiler, then of course you can call the judge. If you know that you've seen last game that your opponent, well, not last game because side decks happen, but if you know that you've seen your opponent reveal 3 dark targets for Mystic Tomato, and then later on in the game, you know, or you know, the very next turn he summons Mystic Tomato, there's no way he can draw 3 cards, he destroys the Mystic Tomato while battle. I mean, come on now, you know that he has another target. If he says that he doesn't have another target, you can obviously go to the judge. I think that this is right and wrong on so many levels because A, knowing knowledge, activating Mind Crush, let's say you activate Mind Crush, you declare the card wrong and you still get to see their hand. Is that really fair? That you get to see their entire hand and know their entire strategy. That is, and that's not even what Mind Crush is designed to do. So at one hand, I see what Konami's trying to do. We can verify that, you know, sometimes, and then other times you're just like, it's one of those situations, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section about that particular situation. Now, I didn't read the rest of this because I was just blown away by the new change, and I didn't think that it will affect our overall quality of gameplay. But I do think because think about it, seriously, guys, how many times in situations that you actually get to deck check your opponent? Not too many times, especially against good players that know everything in their deck. You're not even going to have an opportunity to deck check them. So it's like, it doesn't change the landscape of the game too much, but it does change a little bit. I think we're at the, we should be, yeah, we're at, whoa, we're still pretty late. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to know what you guys think about it. I'll leave the links down below in the comment section. Please like, comment, subscribe. But most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.